The views, opinions, positions, or strategies expressed on WLAF TV 12 do not necessarily reflect those of the staff, management, ownership, or advertisers of WLAF TV 12, 1450 WLAF Radio, FM 100.9, or 1450WLAF.com.
When every second counts, count on Vital Care MedTrans. You do have a choice when it comes to ambulance service in this area. So when you call 911, ask for the best.
Wait a minute, are you Vital Care?
Yes, we are.
Good.
State-of-the-art equipment and a well-trained staff who stand ready to respond to your call. That's Vital Care MedTrans, when nothing but the best will do.
Are we on? All right, honeybee, thank you. Okay, here we are, folks. Straight Talk Live. I'm Jerry Chadwell, your host for the next 50 minutes. I've got a guest coming. He ain't here yet. If he gets here, I promise you it'll be an exciting evening. There'll be some excitement in my guest. So hopefully he'll get on in here. Of course, they had the Follett City meeting last night. I don't know, I was out of town, so I don't know how many folks was there. I do know I watched the meeting today on WLAF. You can go on WLAF and watch the meeting. And he didn't call my name, but apparently the mayor of the city of Follett gave me a lot of credit for one of their issues. So I appreciate that, but I'm going to go over that just a little bit. Let me see if I can, I don't know how many of you was there last night, but the last thing they covered was, they went over several things. They're going to re-advertise and rehash this city administrator thing. But the last thing that was covered in the meeting, as far as the video is concerned, now the video cuts off after that. I don't know if anything happened to that or not, but the video cuts off after it. Is the mayor said we're going to discuss this resolution here about the garage sales and the yard sales. Okay, and I hope you're watching, Mayor, because I got an invitation for you. This thing is not personal. Apparently he's taking it personal, like he apparently takes everything personal that happens. It's not personal. I just disagree with him on this issue. It's not at all. So, but the mayor made a comment at the meeting that his phone's been blowing up over this issue and said it don't stop ringing about citizens complaining about this issue. And then he went on to say, and it's recorded here, it's out there on YouTube for you to watch. You can go to WLAF's website and you can watch it. The mayor went on to say that people on these talk shows don't have a clue what they're talking about, out there running their mouth about this thing. Come on in here. Out there running their mouth about this thing. He said, he made that comment. Well, my comment to you, Mayor, is that all I've discussed is exactly what's in the ordinance you all have. It's your ordinance. The only discussion I have comes directly from your ordinance. So if I don't know what I'm talking about reading directly from your ordinance, if there's some kind of hidden agenda to this ordinance or something, I've got two propositions. I got a question for you first. Instead of putting it off last night and explaining it to the people, why didn't you sit there, since these people on TV don't know what they're talking about, reading it directly from your ordinance, since I don't know what I'm talking about, why didn't you explain it to people instead of putting it off for a month? Why didn't you sit up there and just say, hey, this is what this is all about? Instead of saying, well, people's calling, we ought to just put it off because people's talking, they don't know what they're talking about. So I've got an invitation to you, by the way. I've got City Councilman Hansford Hatmaker.
Pleased to meet you.
Come in, and he's got some things to talk about, and we're going to talk about. But, Mayor, I've got an invitation to you right now. I'll kick Hansford out of here. If you want to come up here tonight, I won't charge you a dime. I ain't charging Hansford nothing to be up here. Won't charge you a dime. If you want to come up here tonight and explain to the people, and explain to your citizens, to your voters, explain to them what this resolution is all about, instead of just saying, well, people don't know what they're talking about. If you want to come up here tonight and explain it, I welcome you to come sit down right here. I won't say a word. I'll sit here, won't say a word, and you explain it to your citizens what this is all about. I welcome you to do it. If you want to come up and sit in, take 5-10 minutes to do that, and then get up and leave, or if you want to sit here and let people call you, however you want to do it, that's up to you. This is your time to do this, okay? You're on the air. Okay, so that's an invitation to the mayor to come up here and sit down, since he obviously made a statement in the council meeting. You heard it, Hansford, said people talking on TV don't have a clue what they're talking about, don't know what they're talking about. Again, for two shows, 3 solid hours, I read it directly from your ordinance, didn't say anything that was not in your ordinance. So the fact that you said that they're, don't know what they're talking about tells me, this is my opinion, there's some kind of hidden agenda behind this. Why don't you come and explain it to the citizens? Because if you've got that many calls, obviously the citizens are upset about this, I appreciate you giving me credit for getting the citizens riled up, and you all deciding to take some time and put this off and talk about it whenever you're going to talk about it. I've got a feeling what you're going to try to do is sneak it in when, maybe citizens calm down. But we'll see if we can't make sure the citizens don't get calmed down about it. So you're welcome to come up here and sit right here on this show. It's an open invitation. So, Councilman Hatmaker, we've discussed a couple of things, and I'm sure, if I remember correctly, you wasn't for this thing, was you?
No, sir.
I thought I heard in the meeting that you wasn't for this thing, if I remember correctly. You said this is just another thing, and slammed your fist down in that workshop and said it's just too much government.
Too much government, and not only that, what they end up doing, you see, they'll tell you to start with that we won't charge you for the permit.
Right.
And then, and if you don't do what we tell you to do, but we're going to fine you.
Right.
And that's not right. Hey, let's get off of people's back. Leave them alone. If you want to have a yard sale, garage sale, don't make any difference what kind of sale. As far as I'm concerned, have it. It's your property. You pay taxes on it.
Right.
And if that's what you want to do, go for it.
Well, here's my feeling on this, and I explained this the couple times I've talked about it. I have a little bit of an understanding that what they're trying to do is to cut out these constant people that are having sales all the time. I mean, you've got, I mentioned this I was on Oriel Gibson show a week and a half ago. We talked about it for 2 solid hours. You've got Ron's Gift Emporium down here, and he calls himself an indoor flea market. Okay, well he's got a city business license. He pays taxes. He pays county taxes, city taxes, state taxes. When he sells something, he takes taxes on it. He keeps record of it and pays taxes, okay? You've got Mike Zawinski down in Jacksboro. Mike's got the same kind of indoor flea market shop down there. He's got a business license. He's paying taxes. He's doing all that, okay? My understanding is you've got several people somewhere. I don't know who they are. It's none of my, I don't know, okay? That people feel like they're set up every single week, almost on a daily basis, basically running a small business out there that they don't have a business license, they're not running taxes, paying taxes and all that. Well, surely there's a code or some kind of ordinance that would stop those people without this.
Yeah.
Is my thing. You can't run an illegal business and not pay taxes on it.
Right.
But now there is a state law that says you can have yard sales and garage sales.
Yeah.
Okay, but so anyway, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Anytime that you have something like this here,
Yeah.
there's gonna be somebody that's gonna violate it.
Right,
And it always has been, there'll always will be. And you can't deprive the good people because of a few of the bad people. But we try to and want to, some of us do, but, I'm not for it.
well, and this is the unfortunate part about this ordinance, is that you're going after some people that might be breaking the law, but you're hurting a lot of people, innocent people,
Yeah.
with this right here, and that's the problem I have with it.
Yeah.
You're hurting,
Me
you're,
too.
you're hurting
Yeah.
a lot of innocent
Right,
people. You know, I've got one lady that calls the show, and she called RL show, she's called my show, and I've met this lady, and I've met her grandkids, and she says, you know what, she said, I help clothe my grandkids by having yard sales, okay? You're gonna hurt that lady with this right here.
Yeah.
You're gonna hurt that
Right.
lady, okay? Telling her, well, yes, ma'am, you can have a yard sale, but you can only have one, and it has to be over 3 consecutive days. Well, I've read this document, Hansford, and I don't see anywhere in there that it says if on one of those 3 days there's such a storm blowing through, you can't possibly have it. We're going to give you some kind of, what would you call it, a pass, so that you can have that, the one day you miss because of the storm, you make it up at a different time. There's nothing in there that says that.
No.
You know, so, if you have you got your permit for, what's coming up here, the 10th, 11th, and 12th, whatever the Friday, Saturday, and
Yeah,
Sunday is.
uh-huh.
Okay, we got 10th, 11th, and 12th, and say somebody went down to city and got a permit for the 10th, 11th, and 12th, and it stormed rains all weekend, and you can't have it. Well, you got your one permit,
Yeah.
and you didn't get to have a sale because of the weather. There's nothing
But see,
in here.
that doesn't stipulate anything.
It doesn't, there's nothing in here that makes up for that. It just says you get a permit
Right.
for one 3-day pass, and that's it, per month.
Yeah. It's a bad ordinance.
I think it is, and
And,
apparently the callers to this show and to RL show, when I was on there for 2 hours a week ago, they thought the same thing, and apparently, the mayor has said his phone's been blowing up for 2 or 3 days. That ain't anybody we need to talk to, is it? So, but, I've had a lot of folks call the show. I don't know if you get to watch the show much or not, but a lot of folks call the show.
Yeah.
And they've been, they live in the city and they're against this thing.
Yeah.
They're just,
Well, if you remember, it's like the beer ordinance that they was gonna pass.
yeah,
And then after the people found out about it, what it was, see, as of today, you can't sell beer within 1,000 feet of a church.
yeah,
Well, they was going to pass one, and I finally got the pastors of the church and people involved in it.
yeah.
And then when they approached them, then they backed down away from it. And
Let's take that. You're on the air.
Hey, how you fellas doing this evening?
How you doing, buddy?
Oh, pretty good. The one thing that gripes me with that I find ridiculous that they're trying to do that, first of all. But what gets me is with Stan's job.
Whose job?
Stan.
Well, I've got a comment about that too. We can talk about that.
Well, first he was hired to be the dog catcher, if I'm not correct.
Yeah,
And he don't do such a good job at that, and I wish that he would address that job, before they've laid these other jobs on him, because you can call and try to get things done, and it does not get done.
well, and along that lines, let me make a comment about that, and then hopefully Hansford will be able to. Apparently, the online streaming's not working. Honeybee, hopefully we can check on that. We had a caller last week to this show that asked about a private citizen's property. How come he gets to keep his property in such a mess? And then also asked about the mayor's house and all them lawnmowers sitting up. Now, the mayor's fixed a couple of lawnmowers and weed eaters for me. He's very good at that. Okay, he has. But now his citizen called in and asked about the state of his yard. Okay, So, anytime, and you've watched my show enough, and when somebody calls in and asks, I'll check on it when somebody calls in and asks.
Right.
Well, I talked to Stan Faust the next day, and I said, Stan, I had a caller that called in and asked about this one citizen, and Stan explained that situation to me. And I'm getting ready to tell you something that absolutely will blow your mind. It blew my mind. I didn't believe it the second he said it.
Right.
The mayor has been mayor, 6 years?
Yes, sir.
And worked for the city for 30 years?
Yeah.
And Stan Faust has worked for the city, 9 or 10 years?
Yes.
I asked Stan about the mayor's yard, that the caller asked about that situation and asked how the mayor is allowed to keep his yard in the state that he is. Stan Faust said, well, I don't really know anything about that. Said, I've never been to the mayor's house. Told me he's never been, and I'm sitting here thinking, you've been the codes officer, I don't know how long, and you've worked down there for I don't know how long, and you're telling me no bigger than that city is, and he's been mayor for 6 years, and you've never been to his house. Well, I found that hard to believe. But I didn't say that to him. But the conversation went on, okay? The conversation went on,
Right.
and he told me, he said, Jerry, I'll go up there and I'll check on what you're asking so that you can let whoever, most of the people, I don't know who you are, and I don't know who most of the people are that call the show. And I said, okay, so I can report back and tell, whoever it was asked the question. So anyway, he said, I'll call you back later on in the afternoon. And that was Thursday. He never did call me back. Well, I'm assuming the city was closed Friday. It was Good Friday. Right, was the city
It
closed?
was,
Okay.
yes.
So I texted and called Stan on Friday. He didn't return my text. He didn't return my call. Well, Monday, I texted him and I think called him twice. He's not returned my text. He's not returned either of my calls. I did the same thing yesterday, and I called him twice today. I've not heard back from him or anything. So I'm assuming somebody's told him to not cooperate with me,
Well-
and that's fine. But there's more people that's looking into this now. I've got other media outlets that are looking into this. It goes back to what I've said 2 or 3 times. There's certain laws for me and you that other folks don't have to abide by, apparently.
Exactly.
Well,
I kind of had the same experience with him, and I've known him. I was raised out there where he's raised.
Yeah.
And of course, his parents, if I ain't mistaken, had a little business there, didn't they? Answered up there for many years.
Whose parents?
Stan,
Stan's parents. Okay. I don't know.
out there in the West End.
He said something about Stan's parents had a business.
Out there in the West End, working
Yeah, West End.
for transmissions and everything up there.
They
And
may have, I don't know.
Hansford said he doesn't know.
No, I don't.
Now I think the world of Stan Faust. Stan and I,
Oh, yeah, Stan.
we've always worked good, and but it just this thing just amazed me that. I made this call and he said he'd call me back. Now he can't, he won't answer my calls, won't return my calls,
Yeah.
won't return my texts.
I'm the same way, and and it was, of course, I'm not in the city no more, but I went through them. He promised me that he'd give me some help on the situation up here where I was living at.
Yeah.
Then went to David Young and William Beard. Now this is right before election time.
Yeah.
Dave went on vacation for 2 weeks, so he got out hearing from me from him, and then of course William got beat, and they promised.
Yeah, David went to the Black Hills.
Yes, and so it all went to nothing, and so we kept trying to return, get his calls, and me and a couple more neighbors, and we never ever did get no returns from it.
Yeah.
The situation's still the same, by the way.
Okay.
But, there's a lot of people that make livings, out of their garage, out of yard selling.
Yeah.
And, some people might not be as fortunate as you or I,
Right.
but, they do depend on that money. $20 to you might not be nothing, but $20 to somebody else could be a lot of money.
It can be.
And so, even the people that do it daily, what's wrong with it? What's wrong with it? They're not harming nobody.
Well, no. If you're talking about people that do it daily, I disagree with you. And I disagree with you for this reason, okay? It's what I've stated. You've got people that are running stores that are paying for business license. They're paying taxes.
Like I was telling you though, that now that could be, the city could fix that, just like I told you on our L show.
Yeah,
Like Sevierville did.
yeah,
You know, Sevierville, you go in there and, you know, you got to buy that state tax, and
right,
$10 covers you for a year.
yeah,
You know, and then if the city wants to force their part of it, of having tax paid,
right,
they can do that.
right,
And if he's going to be that codes officer, that would fall
Yeah.
under his job too.
right.
Feel that he's got too many titles and can't live up to all his.
Right. Well, and see, my thinking is when you're doing a job like Stan's doing, and you got other people going around, they know who are the ones that are out there running small businesses that are not operating like a business. Okay.
It's easy. We all know who it is. I mean,
You know who it is. And you also know, well, who's the little mom and pop trying to make a little extra selling stuff they don't need anymore. That's a huge difference.
right.
You know.
You know, there's a lot of it can be corrected, but I think that they went about. But what you said is exactly what'll happen. Is they'll let the dust die down on it, and then it'll slip in and be done and be over.
Right.
And that's, you mark my words and see if that ain't how it goes.
That's my feeling how it's going. Anytime, I don't know how many people was there. Somebody told me there wasn't a whole lot of people there about the yard sale issue, was there?
There's quite a few.
There was quite a few?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then it was tabled.
And then, they didn't want to discuss it in front of all them people.
Yeah.
That's my feeling.
And
Right, exactly, and that'll be put off for 2 or 3 months, and it won't be mentioned, you know, and then they'll bring it up at the meeting, and it'll pass, and that'll be that.
That'll be that.
So, and it's sad that that's how it is, but
Right.
that's how it is, and you know how it is, and how it's going to turn out as well as I do.
Right.
But I just want to tell Hansford, you hang in there and keep you in the mail like you do, buddy. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
I really do. I'm glad Hansford sticks up to his, you know, what he believes in, you know. I don't agree with him everything, you know, all the time.
Yeah.
But what I do appreciate about him is he speaks his mind, you know, and he don't just let things go.
Yeah.
Things right, he does do that, and that's something that I highly hold high for you.
Yeah. Okay. Appreciate you calling.
Oh yeah.
I got another call.
See you, fella.
Thank you, man. You're on the air.
Hey, big guy.
What's up, buddy?
Not much. I just anybody tried to call me earlier that he didn't get through.
You know, I didn't get through. I tried to call you.
Hey,
Look at there who's calling.
who is that?
Lonnie. Go ahead. Go ahead.
this is Hazel Valley.
It's Hazel Valley.
Hansford, I was watching last night's meeting on TV this morning. Was I mistaken, or did Mike Stanfield tell Ron Inman to sit down and shut up?
He did.
He did. This
Call
is.
his wife a liar?
He called her a liar.
Yeah.
He did. I heard that.
I'm absolutely horrified.
Yeah.
What kind of man would tell a woman that in public?
And kept telling them to sit down or he's going to have them escorted out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And kept pointing with his finger. Sit down. Sit down.
yeah. And I thought he was pretty harsh when he told Mr. Emmons, sit down, shut up.
Yeah.
And,
Well, see, all these meetings
you ain't
are
nothing but a
public.
liar. Told his wife, you ain't nothing but a liar. Sit down.
Yeah.
Well, he said, I don't want to call you a liar, but you're lying about this.
Well, I thought he called her a liar. That's
You know, I mean, when you tell somebody they're lying about this, what do you, it's the same thing, ain't it?
that's no way for the mayor to treat his constituents.
They're right in a city meeting,
Yes.
you know.
That was very bad behavior on his part. Very uncouth, undiplomatic. Well, send Mike Stanfield over there and negotiate with them Iranians.
Right. Hey, and by the way, listen, we talked about, I think me and you talked about the fact that they bought a fire truck that's too big for the building they got.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and they're going to have to extend the building.
We didn't get fire station.
Well, I talked to a business owner today that said he wanted to add on to his building,
Yeah.
and they made him core drill his property the same as they're wanting Mr. Inman to do. So Mr. Inman, he's right. Are you going to core drill this property before you add on to this building down here?
Oh, what about that parking lot up there at Senior Center? Did they core drill any of that?
I don't know. Did they core drill that, Hansford?
Oh,
He said that Hansford said no.
Oh, what, if they park enough cars up there, what if it collapses?
I guess that'll be
see,
on the city, won't it?
where Mr. Edmonds wanting to build, there, the state filled that in. They know exactly what they put in there. And if it lasted all these years, it's been probably 30 years, and it's never sunk, it's never done anything, no holes has come in it or anything. The man just wants to add on to his building, and he's got a little more work than he can handle with the amount of trying to keep it all in
The
dry.
space he's got.
Yeah, and he just wants to add on his building.
Yeah.
And,
If I remember, when Mike Stanfield ran for office, he was pro-business. He was in favor of helping local business. When he ran for office,
Hold on a minute. I see a caller. We'll get to you in just a minute. Keep him.
Okay, well, I'll get
no, I'm telling the caller. We'll get to him in just a minute.
ask if my eyes were fooling me about the way Mike Stanfield's treating us public. And, but you guys are doing a great job. Keep it up.
Thank you, buddy. You're on the air.
Okay, Jerry.
Just okay.
1 minute. Jerry,
Yes. Turn your TV down.
cut TV.
You're listening to me and the TV both, and there's about a 6 or 7 second delay.
Okay.
And it creates a problem.
Okay. Is this Jerry?
Yes.
Okay. Last night at the city council meeting, when they rejected Mr. Williams,
Yeah.
a man that's got a PhD, the man had a gentleman with him from Chicago, Illinois,
Yeah.
that was interested in bringing a factory here. If he could find a building to put it in to manufacture the solar panels, would bring 1,400 jobs immediately and add 100 jobs for the next 3 to 5 years. After they rejected Mr. Williams, the man said, I have never seen, I thought most places had professionally people, but to come here and to see how you operate, professionally end of it,
Yeah.
Mr. Stanfield, and to see how they operated,
Yeah.
he says this is probably not the most appropriate place that I'd ever want to be, because the way that the city operates, you've got, something has to give. You know, outside of McQuarrie County, Kentucky,
Yeah.
is the #1 county in the whole United States that has absolutely no jobs. Campbell County, Tennessee has 5 exits, no jobs, and unless we can get business people to step up and to run for city council, the gentleman from Chicago could not believe that city of La Follette had a person like Mike Stanfield, and it was horrible to bring him here. So I'm not saying good, bad, or indifference, but if we're going to ever have jobs, they got to be a change in City Hall. Thank you.
Thank you, buddy.
Bye.
And we missed a couple of callers there. I recognize one of them's name. You call me back. Huh? You know who? You seen it? Huh? Well, he knows who it is. Lonnie, you call back. I'm interested in hearing what you got to say. So, well, Hansford's anything, you know, I went on and on about the yard sales, the city administrator. Do
Well,
we need to talk about that, or is there something else you want to talk about?
That'd be fine. The city administrator, see, let me just read here. If you don't care, I'll let you do it. And that way,
Okay.
I want to show you what our charter,
Oh, I've been reading that for 2 weeks on here, Hansford.
says. We are not allowed, Okay, now right here, Jerry, just go ahead and read that. That's what the charter says in Article 5 of the city administrator.
Yeah, what,
It right here, it starts where the city administrator shall give,
the administrator shall give full time to the duties of his office. No member of the city council shall be eligible for appointment as city administrator until 1 year has elapsed after such council member shall have ceased to be a member of the council. And I don't know, who's serving as city administrator at this point in time?
well, Stanfield says he is.
Well, that's against the law.
That's against the rulings, all the rulings, it's against the charter.
It's against the charter.
And we took an oath
Yeah.
when we took office that,
Well, because there's another one there that tells the duties of the mayor,
yeah,
and do you have that one? If you don't, I can find it.
yeah, I don't know but now he is a council member too.
He is, but he's the mayor.
Yeah, he's the mayor, but
He's
he's
the
a
mayor.
council
But
member.
I'll tell you.
And,
Let me find it, and I'll read you specifically
you know,
what.
I've tried everywhere in the world just to get them to appoint somebody to make,
Well, but what that says is that's Article 5. Let's see, Article 5 of the charter, and it's got a good point there, folks. And I didn't think about this. The administrator shall give full time to the duties of his office.
that's right.
So you can't have somebody down there serving one position and serving another one. The charter says they got to give full time.
Right.
So, you know, because I know that somebody told me, I wasn't there, and you can confirm this or deny it. Somebody told me they had asked Mr. Sweat to kind of cohabitate in his position and city administrator. Is that correct?
Well, we did ask him to
Okay.
take it temporary, and he wouldn't take it.
Okay, but he couldn't have done both at the same time.
No.
So if he took that temporary, somebody would have had to done his job. By the charter, he's not allowed to do both.
That's right.
You know, and he probably knew that.
And it's just, it's sad though that we do these things, and just carry on as if, and the state attorney general, Mr. Trapman made a comment last night that what we was doing was not illegal. Well, now, the state attorney general, when I talked to him, he said it was illegal to operate without a city administrator instead of follow it the way your charter reads. And everything that we've done since the administrator has left, it's been illegal.
Yeah.
And you just
I heard him say that. Now here's the charter. This is Article 4, called City Council, and it's Section 6, and it's the mayoral duties. The mayor shall preside at meetings of the City Council and shall have a vote only in the case of a tie vote of other members of the council. He shall have power to veto all ordinances and resolutions duly accepted by the council, provided, however, he must exercise the veto within 5 days of final adoption by the council. He shall notify each councilman, if available, of his actions, together with his reasons, therefore, within the 5-day period. The council will have 30 days or until the next regular council meeting, whichever comes first, to override such a veto. It shall require an affirmation vote of at least 3 members of the council to override the mayor's vote. This is the one that gets me. He shall be recognized as the ceremonial head of the city. He shall be the officer to accept process against the city. He shall perform other duties imposed by this charter, by the ordinances not inconsistent with this charter. The mayor shall serve ex officio on all commissions, boards, and committees. Okay? He can't serve as the city administrator.
No, and when you get involved with stuff like this, it just brings on lawsuits.
Right.
And believe me, we've got plenty of them that's facing us out there today.
Well, you do, and you know, and one of the things, Hansford, that I read is, let's see, duties of the administrator. Let's see. let me read this one. City Council Administrator Relations. I've read this several times, but the City Council and its members shall deal with administrative services of the city only through the city administrator, except for the purpose of inquiry, and neither the City Council nor any member thereof shall give orders or instructions to any subordinates of the city administrator. The city administrator shall take his orders and instructions from the city council only when sitting in a duly convened meeting of city council, and no individual councilman shall give any orders or instructions to the city administrator. Okay? That means none of you all. You, Bob,
Nobody.
Miss Thompson,
Nobody.
Thompson, Joe, or the mayor can walk in and go down to Jimmy Jeffers' office and say, Jimmy, I want you to go over here and check this. You can't do it.
You can't do it.
Can't do
That's
it.
right.
Okay.
Exactly.
The mayor last week, if I can find that on WLAF, Hazel Valley pointed this out. Mr. Slusher also pointed it out to me. We were talking about it. There's a picture of the mayor and Miss Thompson standing over at that walking track or walking trail. What is it? The trail
Yeah.
that the river bank is overflowing and eroding away. And Hazel Valley pointed out. Let me get to it. Is that no? That ain't it. Okay, there's a comment.
See, that was just like in a workshop. I mean, a planning commission. We had a planning commission when Mike went over and pecked Billy Russell on the shoulder 3 times. 1, 2, 3, sitting right there in it.
Yeah,
Says you be in my office at 8 o'clock in the morning.
can't do that.
You can't do that. You simply cannot do that. It's against the rules. You can't. But this is the reason that we have the problems that we're having. That's just like, for an example, right here is where they signed off on a bid that they took on the building down there.
Okay.
They had one bid, was a high bid, was $467,000 and $103.40. Okay, the competitor bid was $312,964.80.
Yeah.
There was $154,000 difference in this, and they took the high bid.
They took the high bid.
Not only was they didn't like the bid, so they rebid it. And the guy got it again,
Yeah.
and they still rejected him.
Huh.
And
Kind of like this.
and see,
city administrator
It's
thing.
it's like Bob Fannin said, the best bid.
Yeah.
Well, let me tell you something. That the best bid. That's just an easy way of saying we're not going to deal with you.
Right.
And when you put up a bond and everything on a bid, and that bond is there, then that's supposed to protect you from if they don't carry through with what the bid says, then you forfeit the bond.
Right.
And then you've got enough money left there to go ahead and go with somebody else if you want to.
Right.
Or rebid it.
Yeah.
But you don't say the man's not capable of doing it just by saying we'll take the best bid, and you don't know nothing about a roof job.
Yeah.
Bob
right.
don't know how to do nothing but out there push the dope, or peels
Yeah.
and run the drugstore.
Yeah.
And then he's gonna take a high bid, and that's a lot of money, $154,000
That's a huge
of the
difference.
taxpayers' money.
A huge difference. I guess I would be questioning. My thinking would be is why is there such a? I guess I would want to talk to both of them and say, tell me why there's such a difference in your bids.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I want to, because I think the law is you can take the best bid, not necessarily the lowest bid.
Right.
The one that you feel like is the best for you. And if somebody bids, this company, right? We ain't gonna mention any names, but this company.
Well,
they do good. They do good work.
Yeah.
You don't know this guy.
Yeah.
So you want to call this guy and say, look, why is your bid $154,000 less than this one? How can you
Yeah.
do this job so much cheaper than this other guy can?
Yeah.
You know, and maybe get some references and credentials. That's me, because I mean, but in the city, you know, if you can get some good references and credentials and show that he knows what he's
Well,
doing,
that's
you'd
what-
want to save the $150,000.
Right. So that's what we did.
Yeah.
See, we checked on this guy here, and he done a job for the utilities,
Okay.
and they was well pleased with the job.
Okay.
And they had the engineer to follow him all the way through on everything. And I talked to the engineer myself, and he made the comment that he done a good job, and they paid the man.
Okay.
And so then you want us to turn around and say, you know, you took the best bid.
Yeah.
That's just a easy way out for for 'em.
Right. Yeah. I'd want to check on that one myself. You know.
And
So.
but and there've been a lot of questions asked me about the post office. We've got an art group in there now, and they're just trying to get started and everything, and
You know, I heard that go through. Are they paying anything for that, or is it?
no, they're not paying anything, and I don't think we ought to charge them right now. Let's help these people get started.
Okay.
And if we need to pay the electric bill or the gas bill or something other, you know, it
Well,
all
they're not
comes
going
back
to be in
the
there every
city.
day, are they?
No.
You're on the air.
Yeah, Jerry, I think if you check, and I'm not playing attorney here or anything, it's just speaking from past experience.
Okay.
If you check procurement laws, and they're generally the same in just about all states and counties and municipalities, it gives two conditions for awarding of a bid. One is it's got to be the lowest and best. Now, to me, that means that if for some reason the lowest bid, the bidder cannot qualify, say, may not be able to get the bond,
Right.
may have a flawed bid, he didn't include all the parameters of the bid, then he does not have the lowest and best. But you've got to find, in my opinion, or I always did, a reason, and you better be able to back it up,
Right.
why the lowest bid is not the best. There's got to be a reason.
Yeah.
And I would, if I were bidding a job and I had met the bonding requirements and I met all the requirements and the specifications as laid out in the proposed bid and as the proposal was put out, I think I would not be in too good a mood.
Yeah.
But they've got the law pretty well explained. It says lowest and best.
And see that when you go to that word "and best," that makes it all subjective.
And
Yeah.
You know, you can
got to meet two requirements.
yeah, you can make
Be the
that.
lowest. The lowest and best. It's got to meet two requirements.
Or you have to start over.
Unless you can disqualify that lowest bid, you're going to be hard pressed to award it to somebody else.
Well, but what if the lowest is not the best?
Yeah.
It was.
What if the lowest is not the best?
If you meet the requirements of the bid, let's say you have to post a bond, you've got to provide 3 references, you must demonstrate you've done 3 jobs of $500,000, you meet all the requirements, then you've got the lowest and best bid.
Yeah.
If you meet the minimum requirements of the bid and you've got the lowest price, you're going to get a challenge on the bid.
Yeah.
Well, that's the reason Kenny Beard made the comment that his engineer was followed through on this gentleman here on the job they did for the utilities, and he made the comment that he was well pleased with the job.
Yeah, And you can issue a challenge to a bid. Generally, you have to put up a minimum amount, like 5% of the bid, to challenge the bid and go through a challenge on it.
Yeah, they did.
Remedies out there for a low bidder.
Yeah.
The thing is, if you don't award it to the low bidder, first of all, you're not going to be in compliance with the law.
Yeah.
And second of all, you are going to discourage contractors and bidders from bidding on your work because they're going to say, well, it doesn't matter whether I'm lowest or not, I'm not going to get it.
Yeah.
But when a person comes up with a bid bond, that means they've got insurance and someone is guaranteeing, as Mr. Hatmaker said, their work.
Yeah.
It's guaranteed.
Yeah. That's right. That's just the way it is.
Yep.
Hey, I want to bring something up to you. This is totally off subject, but Mr. Slusher, me and you talk about the school systems and education all the time. I'm reading the Follett Press. It should be in the paper tomorrow. On the Follett Press's website, this is a proud thing for our school system. We have a student who was one of 100 students statewide that scored a perfect score on the reading comprehension or writing assessment, reading comprehension statewide exam. I'm assuming that I think she's a senior, Carmen Wright. And that's a great thing for our school system.
Yes, it is.
You know, this girl, Carmen Wright, she was one of 100 students statewide with a perfect score. So that, that tells me that she's probably had some pretty good teaching through the years.
Yes, she has.
So
I hope our board chairman, Mr. Orrick, singles him out for recognition.
Singles her out. Carmen Wright is a girl.
I love sports. I love hunting. I love all that. But you see it emphasized in the paper, but you hear very little about academic achievement.
Right.
And academic achievement, Jerry, is what it's all about.
Well, and I'm assuming this girl is probably going to be a pretty good student, that she can score 100 on this test, because this is what it says. Her instructor said that what she had to do, the writing assessment consisted of reading 2 complex texts and writing accompanying essays. The first essay was an analytical summary about a particular text, while the second essay was an analytical essay about another text. Okay, so and they had to do this in 30 minutes. That's pretty strong.
Yeah.
That's pretty strong. So, congrats out there. I don't know if she's watching the show or somebody knows her, so hopefully watching the show. Carmen Wright, one of 100 students in this state. That's a good thing. That shows well for our school system. And you're right, Mr. Orrick they need to make sure the school board recognizes that. And I'm sure
she had some good mentors in school.
I'm sure she has.
They'll be recognized too.
There you go. So anyway, I was looking for something else that we were talking about, and I saw that, and I thought I'd mention it because that's outstanding right there. So,
I would like to comment on one thing.
Okay.
The problems that you and Mr. Hatmaker are discussing, such as the core drilling, the awarding of bids, the fees for setting up a flea market or a garage sale and so forth. These issues becoming major issues. These are small issues that most cities deal with and most governments. But these issues of becoming thorns and turning into major public controversy is systematic of what happens when you don't have a city administrator.
Right.
Or a leader that is not a politically elected person in charge. In the charter of La Follette, I don't live in La Follette, but I love La Follette. I love everybody down there. I think the world, Mike Stanfield, Hansford, everybody, good friends. But pretty plain that the city council is going to be spending its time dealing with these administrative matters instead of being able to deal with those things that are laid out in the city charter for them to do. One comment I would like to make before I sign off. When I get as young as Mr. Hansford, I want hair just like him.
Thank you, buddy. I got another call.
Thank you.
What line was okay? You're on the air.
Yes, I have a question for Mr. Hatmaker
Okay.
in regard to the old post office building. Is it true, Mr. Hatmaker, that the left side parking lot of the post office is leased?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Well, how come the city is charging for people to park there, yet they're not charging people to use the building?
Well, what you've got, see, they don't have any parking there at the old C.J. Russell's place.
Yes.
They doesn't have any parking at all there, and it was just a disaster. And most of the people that's there is handicapped people anyway. So they come to us before that we ever done anything at all after we bought the building. And if I'm not badly mistaken, I think we're getting $500 a month off of that area there, just on that left-hand side of the post office for those people there in that building.
Now hold it a minute.
We
now,
are.
I think I see her point. So stay on there, ma'am. Don't go away. So tell me if your point is. So the city is charging that Russell building there, the Russell Towers,
Yes,
$500 a month just to rent a few parking spaces.
yes.
Yet the people, these artists, you're letting them have the building for free.
Well,
So this one is that what you're saying, ma'am?
Yes.
Okay, so I think her point is, how is that fair?
well, it's a nonprofit organization.
Well,
The art people is.
Okay, is the Russells is not nonprofit?
Huh?
I thought the Russells is a government building.
It is. It's
So it's
for-profit.
nonprofit.
Well,
No, it's does somebody own that? I thought that
well,
was a government
it's a
building.
government building.
Solid Housing Authority owns it.
Yeah, La Follette House
La Follette
Authority owns it.
And that's not a for-profit business.
Yeah.
No,
Well,
it's a Section 8 housing.
they're the one that they worked a deal out with him and got the $500 a month. And the only thing with the art people is that we're just trying to help those people get started.
Now, I understand that. I understand, I agree with you
Yeah.
there. But I see her point. I mean, I'm just talking about the caller here. She's brought up a point that the city is charging or taking $500 a month from a nonprofit organization over here, but yet another nonprofit organization comes in that's been around for a long time. It ain't like they're new. They've been
No.
around for a bunch
Yeah.
of years, and you're letting them have this for free.
Yeah. Well, see, now we've got several people that in the city with the that we're letting have spaces like that free.
Are you okay?
Yeah.
Yeah,
We-
the bank across the street here, Community Trust, their employees park on the other side.
They're what?
She said the Community Trust Bank employees
No.
park somewhere else over in there.
Yeah, it's not for them. No.
No, not that parking lot, but they park somewhere
No,
else. In the
Yeah,
city.
they park there on the city parking lot.
They park in the city parking lot.
Yeah.
They don't pay nothing.
No, they
But
nobody
that's
pays
a,
that.
that's a,
They park on the other side of the post office.
right.
On the other side.
But in the city parking lot.
Yeah. Yeah, it's city parking
But
lot.
they don't pay for that, even
The
though.
other side of the post office is city parking lot.
Huh?
Is the other side of the post office city parking lot?
Yes, that's part of the city's parking lot. It is. It runs all the way down.
Not.
Huh?
That's not. But the other side's not.
No, the other side would come with the building. When we bought it, the other side did.
But it's still, but the city owns the building,
Yes,
so it's
they
still
do
city
now.
parking.
Yes, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's all city parking right there in that
Yeah,
parking
all
lot.
of it is now.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's a city parking lot.
Yeah,
Yes, the whole thing.
the whole thing is now.
Okay. But half of it, well, Solid Housing Authority is paying $500 a month.
To rent it.
to rent the space. I
Yeah.
forget how many spaces they are. They're like, I don't know.
Probably about 12 or 15,
12,
12,
15
15, something like that.
parking
Yeah,
spaces, yes.
okay. So,
Still doesn't make any sense to me.
well, I see what
I
you're
can
saying.
see
I
what
didn't know
she's
anything.
saying, yeah.
You know, I mean, if
Yeah.
that nonprofit out of that Russell Towers is having to pay, then why ain't the bank across the street that is a profit organization, why ain't they having to pay for their people to park in the city parking lot?
No, they don't.
I know they don't.
Yeah.
She's asking why don't they? You know, why is a
Not considered city parking.
yeah why
Oh, I
is
see, yeah.
why is
okay.
a for-profit
Yeah.
business
Yeah.
being allowed to park for free when you're getting $500 from a nonprofit business?
Yeah.
Yet you're giving the building, there's much conflicts there is what the caller's saying. I see what you're saying, ma'am.
Yeah, did the city council approve this?
Yes.
The city council
Yeah, they
approved
had to.
it? Okay.
They sure did.
Well, you know, I may not agree with it, but I guess that's just the way things are here.
So,
Yeah, there's a lot of things I don't agree with goes on down there that I still have to live with it.
I definitely know that. All
Yeah.
right, thank you for your time.
thank you,
Okay.
ma'am. You're on the air.
Hey, fellas, I got a question.
We got answers.
Good. Russell Towers is a 3-story building that has untold numbers of apartments and whatever it is.
Right.
Okay. If an individual went out here to build an apartment the same size as that, would the city code not require that there be a specific number of parking spaces to accommodate?
I think federal law requires that, not city law. I think federal law would require that.
Okay, somebody explain to me how they built a building that size or that many occupants and not have designated parking, because this parking lot we're discussing came up far after the building was built.
And I think you would have to have certain number of handicap parking spots.
Okay, now this boils back down, y'all talking about rules and laws
Yeah.
and everything. Rules and laws and whatever don't mean a rat's rear end anymore.
And that's
That's what
true.
it sound like.
Yeah.
They don't to some of them.
Okay, gentlemen, thank you.
Thank you, buddy. Now,
Yeah, I
Lonnie,
think with that-
Lonnie, call back. Lonnie, we missed his call again. Lonnie, call back right now. I'm holding it open for you.
I think when they started that, and they had to have so many parking spaces, and what we did, the city parking lot there in
Yeah.
the back, we
Yeah.
accommodated them with
Yeah.
that back there.
You're on the air.
Jerry,
Yes.
there's one thing I want to point out to you.
Okay.
With the Chris Williams, he had a community in Philadelphia somewhere that was going to give the city of La Follette a fire truck just to come and get it.
Huh.
Number two is, if Chris Williams had been named the city administrator,
Yeah.
La Follette would have had a veterans administration for veterans that did have no arms or legs. It would all been here within 3 minutes of the emergency room, which would take in the Beard Farm, Del Rio Mobile Home Park,
Yeah.
and the Ellison Farm. We had nobody to meet nowhere that type of qualification,
Yeah.
and they completely shut it down.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know Mr. Williams. Do you know him? I'd like to have him on the show if he'd like to come on the show.
If you'll call my office or come by, I'll give you all the details.
I'll come by and see you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, buddy.
See what we did?
You'll have to tell me where his office is. I don't even know.
It's on Beach Street.
Okay.
Yeah, but see when we took these interviewed these people,
Yeah.
then well, I thought it was a gold thing. Mr.
Yeah.
Fannin made the comment that we would hire from what we've got now.
Right.
Okay, we went ahead and did that.
Yeah.
And we went ahead and interviewed everybody, and this is the second time we've done this.
Right.
And we can all get all built up and everything. We're going to get us an administrator.
Right.
Then come to the workshop.
Yeah.
somebody got to somebody, and then they started taking backtrack and saying, "Hey, we want to re-advertise. We
Right.
want to add to the charter. We
Yeah.
want to add this and that."
Yeah.
And so now,
I don't understand that.
yeah, it was put off. It's been a year.
Yeah.
And now it looks like it'll probably be another 6-7
Well,
months.
and I'm with Mr. Fannin. Who wants it? How much time we got, Honeybee? Okay, I'm with Mr. Fannin. Who would want that job? I said this before, unless you get a contract. If you don't
Yeah.
give somebody a
Well,
contract, they ain't gonna want
Right.
that job.
This is what I said
Yeah, hurry
about
up.
that.
Hurry.
Just to go ahead and hire an administrator.
Yeah.
And then work his charter out.
Yeah.
And give.
Thank you, folks. Hey, we appreciate you. We'll be back here next week at 8 o'clock.